when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adanna Combie, and thank you so much for staying with us this morning. We begin conversations this morning by speaking with Mr. Kevon Mckenna. He is the chairman of the Scarborough Esplanade here in Tobago. And of course, we're going to be talking about upcoming projects on the Esplanade, along with what is wrong with my tongue this Monday morning. Maybe I haven't had coffee, and I will have some later on this morning. But Kevon, we're going to head on into the conversation this morning. You know, the Scarborough Esplanade is there kind of like in the center of Scarborough. It is supposed to be like a hub for businesses on the island of Tobago where people can ply their trade, where they can make a few, make a buck right there in Scarborough, Tobago. And so we want to know what is going on in terms of activities, projects, initiatives centered around the Esplanade in terms of generating the kind of income and also interest at the Scarborough Esplanade, which I believe is the general intent for setting up that place.
All right, so good morning to the Tobago Updates family. Good morning to Tobago. So diving straight into it, of course. All right, so good morning again, guys. So as you indicated, I'm the chairman of the Milford Road Esplanade Board, and this morning I'll be going through some of the activities or projects, rather, that we have been doing in the last 100 days. Before we start off, we must know the purpose of the Esplanade, and I think you just indicated it. It is to provide a healthy and safe environment for a hub of socio-economic activities for the benefit of the economy of Tobago and all stakeholders involved. Who are our stakeholders? Our stakeholders will be the general, your local tourists and your international tourists, and of course your staff, and of course your vendors, the people who have to actually, provide the service to the public. So we are providing a service, and with that, there are a number of things that we have looked at, not only from now, but we looked back, we read. So when this board was appointed, something that we did research. We didn't start from ground zero, and I think that was good on our part, that we didn't just throw out everything and say, well, no, we come in and we know what we're doing. We looked back and we read the minutes from the last year and a half, to know what was already planned, and we looked at some of these plans and initiatives, and actually these are the plans and initiatives that you have been seeing implementing. It didn't just come up from the chairman saying or one board member saying. We looked at it strategically. We had several meetings. So first we started off with the first board meeting, and what was shocking to board is that a financial report came to us with the Esplanade tenants owing over $600,000.
As in collectively?
Collectively. Tenants.
For what period is this?
This is after COVID, right? You would be alarmed to know that we had persons there having a boot, and the boot locked up for 3 years.
And this person is an active, you can say active tenant.
No,
because
they lock up, persons lock up the boot. You have no access to the boot, and stuff is in the boot. 3 years. Go on with the key. No communication. Esplanade trying to get on to them. Nothing. 3 years. All right. Well, those persons, we did get on to them. They moved their stuff out in 1 week. Because one thing that the board did, we hired an attorney. When we read the minutes and we saw what was happening there, we realized, okay, persons have been taking advantage of the relaxed environment.
But what are the regulations in terms of being a vendor at the Esplanade? In terms of, because I can't see that you have a vending booth and nobody's accessing it. So I really want to know what the regulations are.
The enforcement comes from, well, it's 2 steps. So the enforcement will come from a board giving the instruction to the staff to go ahead, to the management of the Esplanade to go ahead if it's to get persons out, or it will come from the policymaker saying this needs to happen. When we came in, one of the things that they said is get that Esplanade up and running. And when we looked at it, we went through the documentation, we realized a number of things were not happening because of a relaxed environment. Tenants basically became complacent and do I want. We have had persons in arrears, for example, from since as far as 2017, right? Chronic bad debtors, not paying. COVID came. You give Adanna a waiver. Rent gone. After COVID.
Not this one. Not this Adanna. Let's just put that out there.
Well, let me use a placeholder name of Ronald Wood. He's always quarrel at every time on Saturdays we call in his name. So let's use Ronald Wood. Ronald Wood got a waiver during COVID. Right? So rent taken care of. After COVID, Ronald Wood got another waiver. Good? How it is that after that, Ronald Wood went back to not paying his rent. So you have people owing 10 months, 1 year, 2 years, almost 2.5 years.
This is, so in terms of accountability, monitoring and evaluating and doing the checks and the follow-ups, I'm trying to get some information and I'm trying to understand how this was permitted and allowed.
We were trying to understand.
But is this the case for one particular vendor, or was it like
this is a general overview of what we met.
Right.
So after the first board meeting, of course, we went to the next step. We had a meeting with the staff because we want to know, well, what is happening on the ground? What are your suggestions? You know, the goods, the don'ts, what the case may be. So we met with staff. That meeting went pretty well. And one of the things we realized is that the staff, when you look at the staff quarters and even the staff washrooms, staff and public were using the same washrooms. All right. So we had to make some changes. And one of the changes was we had to lock off one of the washroom facilities to say, this is for staff. Some persons called and said, well, you know, how would you use the toilet? I said, but the compound is so unique that we have toilets on both sides, right? But nobody wants to walk, right? I said, well, I'd rather the public be a little bit upset with me, right? But the staff have to have some way that they could use, right?
They must be comfortable in the space.
The staff has to be comfortable in the space, and we have to respect that, right? So that has been done. So the persons in the public, yes, I know a lot of people boast that the Esplanade has the cleanest toilet. Yes, we do. The staff at the Esplanade it takes pride in doing their jobs. So let me just say this morning that well done to you guys. I see them over there maintaining, cutting the grass, cleaning up with the case. So by the time you reach there, 8, 10 o'clock in the morning, you have a clean compound. All right, so we met with the staff. After that, we met with the tenants. And at the tenants meeting, I would say it went well. Persons were expressing, for example, different things they weren't getting approvals for. Whether it be to put up an awning, to put in the whole grease unit for them to do their kitchen in the kitchen area. Persons asked for their boots to be painted, you know, and it was good. At the end of that meeting, I said to the tenancy persons, and other board members were present, we are owing, you all are owing the Esplanade over $600,000. Please go to the office and make a 50% down payment on your arrears. That is all. Right. Now, because of the relaxed environment that we have there,
you kind of stir the pot with that. Right.
Good. And this was me being soft by saying that, because when we checked back on our research, tenants were receiving letters in 2023. You had tenants receiving letters in May, in July, in August, in December, saying, hey, you're owing me money, come and pay it. And they were ignoring the tenancy rent. They were ignoring the office. They're not paying, right? So I came again on top of that and said, after all these letters, plus in 2024, they got another letter. So in some cases, persons had 5 letters saying, Ronald Wood, you're owing me this, come and pay the money. They ignored all. We had the tenancy meeting. The board then said to them, go and pay 50% on your arrears. And 2 persons responded. 2 persons responded.
How many tenants do you have? Can you recall, or, you know, just approximately?
I think it was about 17 then.
And of the 17, only 2 responded?
2 responded. So those 2 are still there, right?
So when you say those 2 are still there, where are the other 15?
No, the others are still there, right?
Just for clarity.
But 1 or 2 had to move out, because by the second board meeting, this board, we'll try to help as much as possible, but there's only so far you can do. So by the second board meeting, we served persons with letters. Some got letters basically saying with some lower bills, come and
settle.
pay your debt and also do a payment plan. So we're still being lenient. Others, they got a notice to quit, where we have said, listen, we no longer want to do business with you. The contract has been terminated. All right? So
you know, in the Tobago space, because Tobago is so small and community oriented, serving someone a letter to quit sometimes can be controversial. Whether the person is right or whether you are right, there will be some conversation around it. We have seen it in the past with so many different organizations, whether it be government agencies or private agencies. Once you are served a letter to quit, especially if you have a time frame in which to quit, there is some sort of conversation because, as you mentioned before, people get a little relaxed and comfortable in doing, you know, what they're doing. So how is that being handled, and how did your vendors respond to the letter?
Well, when that letter reached vendors, it's when you saw persons now starting to find the office and pay. People start to find board members or the chairman's number. And based on the letter you got, the board has the right to negotiate or not negotiate. Some tenants, because of how they have operated in the past, we had to say, listen, we ain't having no conversation. You have to do what the letter say. Right? In less than a month, we collected over 200,000. Also, in less than that month, we got the tenants that were there who had their place locked up for 3 years as a storage facility. That's probably, I guess, life happened. Things happened with persons and they decided I can't continue this anymore. They didn't say anything to the Esplanade. They came and they collected the items, right? The attorney, of course, we served them letters and that ran smoothly, right? So we got back those places. 2 weeks to the end of the for persons to leave. What we also did, we opened up for new persons to come in and register to see whatever. One of the things we looked at is everybody was applying to sell food. All right, everybody was applying to do a bar. All right, and we said no, the Esplanade needs variety.
That's right.
It needs variety because we are not. If you look at let's look at Barbados. Barbados model could work because of the heavier influx that they will have, right? Our thing is we are also providing for the local market, right, as well as the diaspora, and then the tourist comes, especially for the cruise ship. So we had to now say, look, we need variety. We may not need so much of food stuff, but let's see what people would come up with. So last week we closed off, and of course this board, we appreciate the time span, and we met last week Friday. Board members met and we looked at the tenants that are there, and we have some new tenants that will get some approvals or phone calls from the office this week. Some of the things include what I spoke earlier about the Biashara, the merch store, and the merch store is important. And this idea was actually from the previous board, right? So it's not that we come in and just decide to go, right? The previous board had these things in their minutes, and we looked at it and said, okay, let's pull it out. The name of this store actually came from the staff. Right, Biashara is Swahili for merch, and I said, hey, we love it. Also this week we are launching our official phone line for the merch store. It's 25 merch, right? So we will be pushing, because when the tourists come there, you have to make the place a hub.
That's right.
Right, and when they come, we want them to get everything. The coconut vendor that is outside there, in front that you see there, who is vending illegally, all right, he will come in onto the Esplanade and he will now be paying a rent. Right, you would also see Playway booth. We're in the final stages. You have the Cambio, which is the money exchange. You have a breakfast station coming, a hairdresser, a nail tech, cafe.
So the Esplanade is now becoming the hub that it was meant to be.
Correct, right? And with that, it will take some pushing and nudging. I know last week, I took what I smiled about is when you have staff telling you, Chairman, what are you doing there? We're glad to know, you know, long we're trying to get these things done. Right, people to come out, people to come in. So we are working together, right? The staff booth, the staff on the Esplanade actually have been doing a lot of the work for us to get this stuff done. And you would be within the last 3 months, we have collaborated with at least 9 THE entities. Right? As I always say, I do multitask, I just hypertask. So as the board say, hey, we need this. Okay, cool. We can call the state agency here. We can call it. And that helped us to keep the price down. right? So far we have not touched our funds. Tenancy pays their arrears. The arrears have been used to do things on the Esplanade. So for example, 211 came in, we partnered with them, they came in and they were doing the relocation of some network cables. That has happened. CPEP is coming this week, so we'll be doing some revitalization of the lawn. Because when I look at the lawn and I look at Carnival, I said we need the lawn to be looking very, very green, right? For when persons like Ronell and them on the street misbehaving. Yes, Ronell, I will start to call Biana. Right.
Mr. Mckenna, I appreciate all that is going on based on the conversation we're having now at the Esplanade. We can see that the Esplanade is going to be coming alive. But we can't end this conversation without speaking about something that transpired, I believe, last week that came into the public space. The I Love Tobago sign.
Yes.
Being relocated to the Esplanade space. And it's everybody has an opinion. When you put something in the open space, especially in social spaces where you can hide behind a camera, you can hide behind your phone or whatever, you are very vocal. And so a lot of people have said what they have to say where this is concerned. And you are defending the idea behind moving it. Some of the things include the safety of persons trying to take a photograph there. And of course, the fact that now it is going to be placed in a place where they can go safely, they won't have to be battling with traffic and stuff like that. So I want to get into that conversation, moving the sign from where it is to where you are proposing for it to be.
So we're talking sense and sense. All right? So let me talk with sense. The safety concern from all of us in Tobago. We have all passed there and seen tourists trying to get a perfect photograph and they're running out in the road. And if you just glimpse to your left, you bounce down somebody, right? And if we look at where these signs are traditionally placed in other countries, they're usually placed in the center of some economic activity to draw the crowd there. There's a reason for that, right? So it doesn't make sense to have an Esplanade where you want tourists to go, you want people to go, and you place the attraction outside of the Esplanade, right? You're losing money. Added to which, when the sign is out there, who is maintaining it, right? So that is sense, right? Minority Leader Kevon Morris, that is sense. Because it's you post it, right?
Mr. Mckenna.
Let me go in. No. Let me go in because you see, we have to think now. What the man make he post?
Mr. Mckenna. Mr. Mckenna,
all right, let me
let's
go
keep the conversation here.
So let me go to the sense part. I know in the past, the THA will pay a contractor to do regular maintenance. If it's to wash down that sign or two times or 3 times a week, right? If the sign is moved onto the Esplanade, right, that contract is no longer needed because we have staff on the Esplanade.
And that becomes part of their duties.
And that can become part of their duties simply by the same way they would clean the facility and cut the lawn, you put on the hose and you wash down the sign, right? That is the sense part. Good. Let me go to the next part. Where the sign is not being maintained. The base rotting out, the lights gone. If it comes onto the Esplanade, the persons there can simply maintain a light. We have a person that is can do electrical duties there. We also have the base is going to be a concrete base, and with that concrete base, less maintenance. The cost has dropped to maintain. Right? Added to which, the crowd that was going in the road, taking the pictures, the risk is removed, and the crowd is coming on the Esplanade. When the crowd comes on the Esplanade, who does it not benefit? Who does it benefit? The Tobagonians, the merch store, the coconut vendor, the Cambio exchange, all these services that you want the tourists to access, right? I saw someone talk about parking, but where is the parking for where the present sign is? There is none. But guess what? I don't know if Tobago Updates has the image. Right? The PNM built a car park for the Esplanade, right? Right outside the Port Mall, right? Look at there. That car park holds more than 20 spots. So in terms of parking, we know where the sign is located. It is in closer proximity to a car park that was underutilized. That car park will be fully operationalized, right? So we'll be able to handle the traffic, and it will also be a paid car park. So we're talking sense and sense, right? What was the last part with the sign? I heard person saying put it on the fort. That's a very good idea, right? That's a very good idea. But we will never have, if you're putting it on the fort, benefits who? Yes, for a photographer, you get the perfect shot. And then what after? Then what after? Who is
No
going?
income.
Where is who is maintaining? So if today or tomorrow we end up back in a financial crisis and the THA is not able to supply to pay that contractor, who is going to be paying for the maintenance of the sign and the fort? What are the safety measures or the risk involved in putting the sign there when somebody climb up? Right? The best place to put the sign is on the Esplanade to drive economic activity based on the mandate for the Esplanade.
Mr. Mckenna, one thing I appreciate about you is your passion whenever you're given a task. And we've seen, we have a track record and we've seen the history of your work. And so, you know, at this point in time, we have to bring this conversation to a close. And what I want to say to you is to continue doing what you have to do and with the same passion. And all the best. I'm looking actively to see what is happening there at the Esplanade and to see how it is being used and to see it transform into the hub that it is supposed to be. I'm giving you 30 seconds in closing to wrap this conversation.
Well, feel free to pass through and start to check out our booths. You will be seeing a difference on the Esplanade. The staff, of course, is there and ready to greet you. You will be seeing new tenants coming on board shortly. And we'll also be doing some further upgrades leading straight down into Christmas. All right, our car park will be open from this week.
All right, absolutely amazing. And if you thought you were going to get off without me asking you the cost, of course, relocating the sign to the Esplanade.
Just over 100,000.
Okay, well, cents and cents. So we'll wait and see, you know.
From tenancy arrears.
Okay. Again, they're justifying the move. You know, all the best there at the Esplanade. I do hope that, of course, it is well received by our patrons, our public, our vendors, and all the stakeholders who are involved there at the Esplanade. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Mr. Kevon Mckenna, chairman there at the Milford Road Esplanade here in Scarborough, Tobago. We have to go for a short break before we continue conversations this morning. And as we go for a break, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live.